There are so many amazing places to stay in London and some not so amazing places to stay in London. And I'm gonna try and make this easy for you by giving you our 5 favorite neighborhoods where we always search for when booking a place to stay in London. I'm gonna tell you what there is to do there, how easy public transportation is, and kind of who that neighborhood is best for. Hi, I'm Erica from Your Guides Abroad. Covent Garden, this is where most people generally think of to stay first, and there is good reason. It is the central of central London, and it is lively and it is fun, and it can be a little bit touristy, but you know what? I feel like it's touristy in a good way. I got to admit, I love going to Covent Garden for the street performers. They're fun. You have theaters, you have great restaurants, you of course have the Covent Garden Piazza, you have the Royal Opera House, you have the Transport Museum, you have so many wonderful things in Covent Garden. As far as tube stops, you have Covent Garden and Leicester Square with the Piccadilly line and the Northern line going through there, giving you easy access around the city. But you don't have to rely on the tube that much for some of the big sites because it's just a 25-minute walk to Westminster Abbey and Big Ben. Staying in Covent Garden is best for people who want to maximize their time by staying in the center of it all. It is lovely and it is lively. This next area is I'm gonna call it the north of Hyde Park option. So this is the area that's north of Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens, you know, kind of not stretching all the way up to Paddington, but those streets around there. Really easily accessible to the park, really easily accessible on public transportation. That's what we love about this area. The big pro is you have easy access to both Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens, and you can also find some more budget-friendly accommodation options in this area. Plus, you are just so close to Paddington Station. You're easily connected in this whole area. You have Queensway, Bayswater, and Lancaster Gate tube stops. You have the Central line as well as the District and Circle tube lines running through here. Plus, you're just a 15-minute walk to Paddington Station, which is great for grabbing the Elizabeth line to Heathrow. Like, it's just very easy. The biggest attractions in this neighborhood is Kensington Gardens and Hyde Park. You're a quick 20-minute stroll to Notting Hill and all the great restaurants there. And if you want to get to Westminster Abbey, it's just 30 minutes taking the tube. I will say we stay in this area pretty frequently because we love having the easy access for our kids to get to the park. So this is best for anyone who really prioritizes having easy access to the parks. It's a lot of families, right? You got the playgrounds, you've got all the green space, let the kids burn off some energy. It's a good spot. I will say just one thing to note, we've noticed that sometimes it can feel a little bit grittier around the tube stations here than it does maybe in some of the other central London neighborhoods. Not a bad thing, not in a dangerous way, just maybe a little bit more gritty. Yeah, that's a good word. And if you're staying in this neighborhood is full of private gardens like the one behind me. They are private. That means the gate's locked. So let me just tell you a quick story. We had moved here. I didn't realize the thing with private gardens. A gate had been left open, so I decided to wander in and it shut behind me and I couldn't get out. Don't do that. It's also really hard to climb that fence because there's not enough space for your foot. I made it out. I'm here to tell the story. Don't do that. The next neighborhood is the borough of Kensington and Chelsea. I'm in South Kensington right now. So this is like a posh, upscale neighborhood, but it's still a very residential neighborhood. And because of that, it has that neighborhood feel that we really love. People live here, you know? So sites here in Kensington, you can just walk right up to Kensington Gardens. In South Kensington, where we are, you have the Natural History Museum, the Science Museum, and the Victoria and Albert or V&A Museum. And in Chelsea, you just might enjoy shopping on King's Road. Here's the drawback. It's a little bit further away from some of the more popular sites, so it might take you a few extra minutes to get there. This neighborhood is best for people who are looking for a quieter stay, a neighborhood feel, and just kind of want something a little bit different. I'm gonna be honest here, we used to live in this borough, so it is my favorite and the one that we come back to over and over again. It's always my first stop for checking what hotels are around. So this neighborhood is well connected if you are near a tube station. You have South Kensington, Sloane Square, High Street Kensington and Gloucester Road tube stops, and all of these have the District and Circle lines running through them. And the Gloucester Road and South Kensington tube stops have the Piccadilly line, so you can go a ton of places. And to get from the South Kensington tube stop to Westminster Abbey, it's just a quick 15 minutes. And why am I giving you distances to Westminster Abbey? I don't know, I just thought it sounded good. There's Big Ben right there, there's the Houses of Parliament, Parliament Square, there's a lot of stuff there. So you'll probably be heading there at some point on your trip. Fun fact, you'll notice all of these fences in London are black. They didn't used to be black. They were painted black after Prince Albert died, and it was a way of mourning him. Prince Albert. So we learned that from a black cab tour, which was fantastic. If you are interested in doing one, click the link in the description below because we have some good ones picked for you. Another neighborhood or neighborhoods is the super posh Marylebone and Mayfair neighborhoods. And I say super posh because I think Mayfair has the most expensive property in all of London. So some of the most expensive properties in the whole entire world. You've got fancy hotels, fancy high streets, fancy shopping, and access to London's top attractions. These are great neighborhoods because when you walk north, you have the Regent's Park. Head west, you'll be in Hyde Park. Go east, you'll be in Soho and Covent Garden, and go south and you are walking into Green Park and Buckingham Palace. Other things here, enjoy the shopping on Bond Street, enjoy Oxford Street, although I don't really enjoy Oxford Street, but maybe you will, it's pretty crowded. And the Wallace Collection, I think that's a really fun museum to check out. The prices here though do match the poshness, so you will have some very fancy and very expensive hotels here. This place I would say is best for shoppers and people wanting one of these large luxury hotel stays. For transportation, you have Bond Street, Oxford Street, and Green Park tube stops, depending on what part of this area you're staying in. And as far as tube lines, you have the Victoria line, you have the Central line, Jubilee line, and the Elizabeth line, all going through various stops here. It's very well connected. Trying to get to Westminster Abbey? It's a 15-minute tube ride away. Jordan and I stayed here on our honeymoon. Yes, we did. If you are looking for like specific hotels and where to stay, and especially if you are looking for hotels that sleep more than 2 people because you're coming over here with a family, you have to head to our website because we list some specific hotels in each neighborhood. So head to yourguidesabroad.com/London. You'll be able to see our where to stay section and some very specific hotels you should look at in each of these neighborhoods. Bankside and down to the Southbank Center. So we are talking about the area south of the river from the Bankside, which is part of the Suffolk borough, all the way down to the Southbank Center. So this is a long stretch of area that runs along the Thames. Because you are on the south side of the Thames, you get some amazing views of central London. Plus, you're just a short walk over the bridge to some other sites like St. Paul and other spots in the City of London. Just a warning, it can be super lively and hectic on sunny days out in London because everyone wants to be in this area because there is so much to do and it is so fun to walk along the river. You have a lot to do here. You have the Tate Modern, you have Borough Market, you have the Globe Theatre, and then swinging further west, you have the Southbank Center and the London Eye. This area is pretty awesome. And I will say, you can find some really reasonably priced stays here for being so central in London. So this is a great option for people who are looking to stretch their travel dollars. Transport in this area is really easy. You have tube stations on the south side of the river, and you can also walk across the bridges to easily access tube stations on the other side. So for tube stops on the south side, you have the London Bridge, Suffolk, and Waterloo stations. The Northern Line and the Jubilee Line comes through here, but just walk across the bridge, like I said, and you have access to both District and Circle lines. And you are just a roughly 20-minute walk or 15-minute tube ride, depending on where you are in this area, to Westminster Abbey. It's super central. I think this is a really good place to stay. A very popular place to stay is Westminster, and here we are right in the heart of Westminster, which is very central London. So we are right near the St. James tube stop, which is one of the main tube stops here, along with the Westminster tube stop. You have the District line and the Circle line running through here, as well as the Jubilee line.
if you pick it up from Westminster. There are a lot of large hotels here, which is probably why it is so popular. You get a lot of larger hotels. A lot of them are very expensive, though you can still find some better priced options. They do have a Premier Inn here. So there is a lot to see here. Obviously, you have Westminster Abbey, you have Big Ben, you have the Houses of Parliament. This is like a prime sightseeing area. You have Buckingham Palace, you have the changing of the guards. You have all these things that might be on the top of your to-do list. So drawback, it is a commercial area, so you aren't going to get those cute high streets with the nice shops and pubs and restaurants. Another drawback is depending on which hotel you pick, you might be actually a bit of a walk from the tube. So St. James Park is here, but as we get further into Westminster, it gets further and further away from tube stops. And I think this spot is best for you if you have a heavy sightseeing itinerary. Maybe you aren't here for that long and you want to make sure you are within a stone's throw of all these really historic sites. No matter where you decide to stay in London, I hope you have a fantastic trip, and I know you will, especially if you check out our website at yourguidesabroad.com. We have so many amazing free resources for you, including our one-day London itinerary download. Grab it, check out our Wayfinder itinerary, and enjoy your time in London. It's wonderful here.